Transition out is another interesting topic, I guess connected with vendor lock-in, which has had a bit of attention through commentary since the cloud started to get that commentary. It's the ability to get your data out of the cloud and with another provider is really measured by the amount of assistance that the first vendor is going to give you at the time when the contract ends. It'll be measured by the format in which that data will be returned, or the form in which that assistance will be provided. Are you going to get a disk to put onto your FedEx, or are you going to take your 30 terabytes of data over the internet from Singapore back to Sydney? You're thinking through how you transition from one provider to another. Is the data going to be of any use, or do you need significant further processing of the data before it can be of use to another provider? These issues are all connected with transition out. The transition periods range from immediate termination of services. Some contracts don't provide for any period of access to the data or any notice. 5 providers. One provider offered 5 days to access data, through to a sort of a benchmark of 90 days after termination in that case to access data, or 90 days notice. So there's a certain sort of message you can take from the amount of time you've got, but I think all of the contracts suffer from a lack of clarity about specifically what happens in that period. Specifically, I mean, some of them mention file formats and so forth, but they don't have the level of attention that you'd traditionally see from a transition out agreement in a large outsourcing deal, where people would apply their minds to every aspect of the transition out and how we're going to move to someone else and how we're going to ensure a seamless process for our business. So that's, I guess, an area where I think that there'll be some maturing of contracts. Liability limitation, again, it was a topic that lent itself to comparison quite well between the providers. Now, you don't see much different to standard IT industry norms for the software which you would have been buying for decades. Generally, there's an attempt to cap liability for direct losses at a maximum of 1 year's fees. I think that's pretty standard for all the IT offerings that I've seen in my time. A number of these cloud offerings cap liability at less than what might be the most generous position of 12 months fees. Some of them exclude all direct loss. Some of them limit to 3 and 6 months fees. Now, those caps on liability, they may be warranted by the type of offering people are buying. It's a standardised, commoditised, low-cost offering. I think what that means in terms of a lot of these cloud offerings is that they must read the contract, understand what it means, and understand precisely sort of what level of protection they are getting, even if there's no significant negotiation taking place. I'd also emphasise that choosing a partner for a cloud application involves choosing a vendor who has some reputational risk at stake with you, some skin in the game, a vendor that may suffer if there's a security breach or a privacy breach or a significant amount of downtime.